Hey guys, and welcome to or back to the Pause in Pursuit podcast with your host, Summer Clark. Guys, Crufts is over. Crufts is over for another year. What is going on? I cannot believe it. I say this at the start of every episode lately. I can't believe that this is happening. And I think that's because everything just feels like it's going so fast these days. Probably because I'm getting older. Which is one of the main topics of this podcast episode. So today I'm going to be debriefing Crufts, obviously telling you all how it went. I mean, you've all probably already seen on my social media, but I think it's quite fun to hear it, kind of live as well. And I can go a little bit more in depth about it. So I'll be telling you all about my experience of Crufts this year. And then I'll be giving my advice to juniors as a now ex-YKC member, because this Crufts was my last Crufts in the YKC because I'm 24 and I turned 25 in July. So I officially cannot enter any more YKC qualifiers or compete at Crufts in the YKC classes ever again, which is kind of crazy when you think I've been in the YKC for 10 years. I think exactly 10 years because 2016 was the first year I tried out for the YKC Team GB with Ethel. And that was the first year I found out that there was a YKC, unfortunately, even though I've been doing agility since I was 11, 12, 13. So yeah, I missed out on a good few years in the YKC because I didn't know it existed. But anyway, hindsight is a beautiful thing. 10 years in the YKC, and that is now over. I'm officially just an adult. So qualifying for Crufts obviously gets tougher from here because I have to obviously rely on qualifying in champs, singles, ABC, stuff like that. I don't have all of the YKC classes that I normally try and qualify for. So, new era unlocked. I am now old. I'm in my grandma era. Let's be honest, I've been in that for quite a while anyway. But yeah, that is what today's podcast episode is going to be all about. So, before we get into the advice then, let's debrief Crufts. So, Thursday at Crufts, we were in the championship, so the medium championship, and also the YKC jumping cup. So, honestly, amazing day. Me and Arrow came second in champ jumping, second in champ agility, and then in the final, we were running second to last. We had the fastest time with just a brick out of the wall in the champ final. So if he hadn't have clipped that brick, he would have won the championship final at Crufts time-wise, which is what? That is insane to me. To come that close in our first ever time competing in champ at Crufts is absolutely insane to me. It took us our fair time to even get a ticket because obviously all the seesaw issues and the nerves and stuff like that from Arrow that we had. But then to, be so close to actually winning at Crufts is insane. Like, I did not expect it to go that well on our first ever time. I thought, what I say to you guys on here all the time, your first experience doing something, never expect to win. Just think this is gaining experience, knowing what it's going to be like for next year. And then we actually came that close. 3 out of 3 clear. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. Technically, the champ final had 5. But for Arrow, in my opinion, 3 out of 3 basically clear rounds in a champ event at Crufts is, honestly, I couldn't be happier with him. I can't fathom the consistency that we've shown in such a high-pressure environment on our first time competing in the champ event at Crufts, and the difference in how we're feeling as a partnership already this year is absolutely insane. And like I said, to be that close to winning at our first Crufts champ is just unreal to me. He felt incredible all day. Honestly, I loved it. I absolutely loved our experience in the main ring in that event. I was not shitting myself like I thought I'd be. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. Really enjoyed it. And yes, it's gutting that the brick came out and we didn't win the champ final, but at the same time, it has highlighted a new issue for us. Seesaws, absolutely spot on. I don't want to speak too soon and I'm touching wood as we say this, but I think our seesaw issues might be fixed. Amazing seesaws throughout the whole of champ, including the champ agility where the seesaw was second to last. And if anyone's been here for quite a while and heard me talk about this before, Arrow usually is more likely to fly the seesaw when it's right at the end, like he did a few times last year, including in the champ final at Vine, because he's thinking, right, we're about to finish the run, I'm going to get my treats very soon. but it was second to last and he stopped on it and I held it for a second and then I released him. And yeah, all his seesaws have been absolutely perfect. Obviously, I released him straight away in the champ final, but really, really happy with where his seesaws are at. Start lines still takes him a little bit to get comfortable and settle, but once he's in that weight, he's in that weight. And to be honest, it didn't take as long as I thought it would to get him in that position in any of the champ rounds, actually. He was a super, super good boy. And obviously, again, anyone who knows me and Arrow and has heard me talk about it before, Arrow's start line creeping is purely down to nerves. You can see it in his face. He is scared. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to rid of that, but I can work with what I've got, if that makes sense. And once I release him, he's the most confident boy. It's very bizarre, but he does not like the start line. But once he's going, he's perfectly fine. So we work with it. And, I know that he's not going to break it. He'd just creep. So when he creeps, I reset him. And after a few attempts, he waits there and happy days. There's way worse issues to have, So I'm not even classing that as an issue now because it's so manageable and it has got better. And maybe one day it will be perfect. Who knows? I didn't think the seesaw would be so amazing now, but it is. So here we are. But yeah, the wall seems to be a bit of a new issue. I do not know whether... So I had a lot of people messaging me saying, such a shame about the wall, but there's so many dogs in that main arena this year that have clipped it. Like, uncharacteristically to normal at Crufts that have clipped it in that main arena. And these days, it's so safe, isn't it? It's so lightweight. It's literally made of air. It doesn't take much for them to fall. And also, the colour scheme, that the entire wall is dark green. And as you know, in the main ring, everything is green. Okay. So I've had a few conversations with people, potentially thinking, are the dogs not seeing it properly because it's all dark green? And usually the wall has two different colours. Obviously what are they called? The posts of the wall are a different colour to the actual jump bit of the wall. Like for example, at tryouts, the posts are blue at Dog Sports Derby and the middle bit of it is yellow. Whereas at Crufts, it's all dark green. So whether that's something, and obviously the Astro's green and all the other equipment's green, everything's just green. And also you've got those digital banners surrounding the main arena as well. So whether they look weird because it's all on the dog's level, against the wall, who knows? And then obviously you've got lights shining on the wall. So each piece of equipment in the main arena, lights are shining down on them. So whether that warps how the dog sees the equipment when they approach it, who knows? Not excuses, because everyone's in the same boat. And that is Crufts, and we know that. We expect that now. So I'll expect that next year. Because again, obviously, you have to do things and experience things to learn these things. But... not just Crufts. I know Arrow has a history of clipping walls. He used to have it with poles a lot, and now, touchwood again, the pole issue isn't so... there isn't such a pole issue these days. Maybe the odd pole, but pretty much fixed that. But the wall has come down a few times. It happened once at GB tryouts, but it was a turn off it and a blind after it as well. And to be fair, in the Champ Agility, he did clip it. It did not fall, but it moved slightly. And that was a turn off of it. And then obviously the final, and I watched the video, he didn't just clip it, I don't think he has respect for it as well. He did two bricks moved and one obviously came off. So I need to build respect for those bricks. I think he has built respect for the poles on the jumps, but he doesn't have the same kind of respect for the wall. Again, when they clip it, it doesn't feel like anything because it's so lightweight. I'm not even saying that's a good or a bad thing. It's just how it is. So I actually do have a wall jump pole, and that is how you train dogs to keep their feet up on the wall. So I recently got that from Safe Stride Solutions, who I'm working with currently. I need to do more content for those. I've just been so busy. So you'll see more about that and the products, the training aids that they sell. And I've got a few to try out, which is super exciting. And that is made to put on top of the bricks and just to teach the dog, to jump that extra few inches or just an inch just have respect for the wall, making sure that they're clearing it, if that makes sense. And I don't have a wall at my venue. I have ordered one now, though. Promise you, I've ordered one, a nice blue and pink wall for my field. So Arrow doesn't see a lot of walls. And also my trainer also doesn't have a wall. So all in all, he only ever sees a wall at shows. And even at shows, they don't often use it, do they really? So that is our new thing to focus on now. I've ordered a wall. I've got my training aid for the wall. And we're going to really, really work on that. So yeah, happy days. Everything is fixable, as we know. But yeah, overall, super happy with the performance in Champ. Yeah, just felt really, really cool. Then we also had YKC Jumping Cup, and he also had a brick out of that wall. But I had to run in and do a blind after that wall, and it was a slight turn. So again, I expected it. And yeah, that is... Oh, yeah, I just realised I lied. It wasn't the Champ Agility that he clipped that he nearly took a brick out at Crufts. It was the Champ Jumping because it was a turn. The Champ Agility didn't even touch it because it was just a straight run over it. And he's usually fine when it's a straight run over it, but he needs to learn to control his back legs when he's turning, and to keep his back legs up even when I run through him blind. So yeah, he can do it just in a straight line, but it's turns, it's, you know, me doing different things around it. That's what we need to work on. So he did have the brick out the wall in the Jumping Cup semi-final 2 in the YKC ring. But again, we had the fastest time. So unfortunately that kept us from the final, but we still finished the semi-final in 3rd, even with that 5. But yeah, I mean, it probably worked out quite well not making the Jumping Cup final because it was just before the Champ final. So who knows, if we'd had to do Jumping Cup final immediately followed by Champ final, might have been a bit too much. We might not have performed as well in the Champ final. So like I said, everything happens for a reason. But that was our Crufts, and it was so cool. I've had a few people ask me about Sunday, which was YKC Pairs Day. And honestly, Sunday was just not a good day, not results-wise. I don't mean that. I just mean for a multitude of different reasons, external factors, stuff like that. Sunday was not an enjoyable day. It did not work out very well. I was not in a good headspace. Arrow was super wound up. It just didn't... There were things that happened that made it not run smoothly. I won't go into those reasons on the internet, but basically it was just a bit of a write-off. Not mad about it because, like I said, it was not our main day, not our main event. But yeah, factors happened on Sunday that were just made it a very unenjoyable day. And let's just say I've learnt some lessons from Sunday of what I have to do in the future. What's important, stuff like that. Yeah, to basically ensure that those things don't happen again. But yeah, it's fine. We're fine, but it just wasn't a great day as far as you know what happened that day. Putting me in not a very good headspace, Arrow not in a great frame of mind. But yeah, I've learned the lessons and it's not going to happen again. There were things that were out of control, but things that I could manage in the future, if that makes sense. So yeah. But anyway, that is me done with the YKC, which is absolutely crazy. But yeah, Crufts was just incredible. Thank you all for your amazing, lovely, supportive comments about mine and Arrow's performance. It was great seeing loads of you at Crufts. And like I said, again, I keep saying I've made an episode about this, why I'm seeing a sports psychology coach. But the biggest thank you to Kate, my psychology coach, for everything that she's done for my mindset and mental approach this year. It is incredible, the difference. I actually can't express how confident, calm and clear-headed I'm feeling on course compared to previous years in everything that I'm doing at the moment. And yeah, we've only had a couple of sessions and I'm truly blown away by how much it's already worked. Obviously, Lucy, my trainer, who has moulded me and Arrow into the partnership we are today, I'll honestly never be able to express enough gratitude to her. Yeah, just no more words needed. And obviously, Megan Hunt, Arrow's physio at Pace Therapy, her post-injury rehab guidance and support made it possible for Arrow to run Fighting Fit at Crufts, because as a lot of you know, or pretty much all of you will know if you listen to this regularly or follow me on social media, Arrow did have an injury over winter from October, and Megan is the one who basically guided us through his rehab and getting him back safely to being fit enough to run so well at Crufts. So again, couldn't have done it all without these people. And lastly, a shout out and a congratulations to Steph Best for winning the medium final with Ski, super cool run, and Rachel and Fiametta for taking reserve. Some very, very cool runs from you guys, and really happy for you. But that was my Crufts, and like I said, I'm just thrilled with it. So thrilled. And now basically it's time to come back. It's time to come back next year. It's time to make sure that we qualify for next year. So we're preparing our list of shows, what we're going to do this year throughout the season to make sure that we're back next year, hopefully in even more events than we were this year in the main ring, because it's really lit fire. Like I said, it was just so fun, and yeah, just super determined to get back there next year. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting season with those goals, trying to chase those qualifiers. And yeah, that was my Crufts. What's coming up is GB Tryouts Weekend 2 is this weekend. So we've done our prep. I set up our last prep course at my venue yesterday, which was and I'm gonna butcher his name. Right, let me really try. Geordie Boyk's Barrow course. And I set that up and ran Arrow over it. And yeah, he did really well over that. And I've got an Ogilvy 5 to 7 show tomorrow, Thursday, which Neil Ellis is judging. So those are going to be really cool courses. So that'll be our last little bit of prep. Then a rest day for Arrow on Friday, and I'll teach. Then we have Saturday, Sunday at GB Tryouts. And then we will find out the team for this year for the European Open in France and AWC in Finland. So that is very exciting. And yeah, that's pretty much what's going on at the moment. But without further ado, let's get into my advice to juniors as an ex-YKC member. So kind of things that I've learned over my 10 years as a YKC member that I would like to pass on as I exit the community, if that makes sense. So point number 1, okay? And a lot of these points are probably quite cliche, but they are all so true. And I think without getting too much into it, being at Crufts around the YKC ring again has kind of drove some of these points further home for me. And I think they're quite important for YKC members to remember as they go into their future years in the YKC. So point number 1 is honestly to just remember why you started agility. Okay, so especially in communities, quite niche communities like the YKC, it is easy to get caught up in results or other people's opinions, emphasis on the other people's opinions. And in the YKC, you don't just have, the attitude, opinions and stuff like that of other members, so other juniors, but you also have the parents, okay? And you always have to come back to the real reason that you're there and competing, which is having fun with your dog and doing your hobby, essentially. And it's just remembering that the result matters far less than your actual partnership with your dog, no matter what other people say and what the results say, okay? So what the paper results say and what other people's opinions are irrelevant compared to your actual why. So again, super important is remembering your why. Because that is what's going to keep you in it in the long term, essentially, and yeah, contribute to your longevity in the sport. Point number 2, not everyone's opinion matters. Okay, so again, in any community, especially a niche community like the YKC, lots of people will give advice that is sometimes unsolicited or critical. Okay, happens to the best of us in everything. But it's important to listen to people you trust. For example, your coach, your trainer, if you have one, or experienced mentors, people that have, experienced in agility and competing and that you look up to and want to be like. But don't feel like you must take every opinion to heart, okay? So really think about who's giving you their opinion and whether you want to take that to heart or not. Again, if it's your coach or experienced mentors that you look up to, your role models, then yes, take their opinions and, learn and grow from them. But if it's someone, I always say, don't only take advice from people that you respect and you want to be like, and that you would switch lives with if you could, if that makes sense. Other people, you don't need to take their opinions to heart, and you shouldn't. I think that's a really good way to filter what you're hearing and what you're taking in and what you're allowing to kind of affect you, is to think like that. Okay, so be very selective with the opinions that you actually take on board, because if you take every single one on board, then it's likely to knock your confidence and confuse you. You won't, have a clear direction of where to go from here. So just think about the opinions that you're actually taking on, Point number 3, do not compare your journey to others. Okay, so some people train every day, have multiple dogs, or have been in the sport for years. And also in the YKC, there is a big mix of, and again, there is no right or wrong, okay, and no shade or judgment to any of these categories, but there's people that have trained their own dogs from scratch, people that are running other people's dogs that are already trained, people that are running their parents' dogs that are already trained, and none of these are wrong, and they're all allowed and they're all great. But be realistic with who you're comparing yourself to, okay? Make sure you remember that not everyone is in the same situation, and comparing yourself constantly to these people, especially when they're in entirely different situations to you, will make what should be a fun sport very stressful, okay? And it will knock your confidence, and that is not what you need when you're competing. Okay, your own personal progress with your own dog is what counts and is what you should be focusing on and being proud of. Okay, especially in something like the YKC where there is such a wide variety of competitors and what situations those competitors are in. Okay, point number 4, this is important. Stay polite even when others aren't. Okay, so unfortunately, any sports communities often involve gossip or negativity. Okay, it's very, very hard to completely avoid that when you're involved in a niche community. Okay, so staying calm, polite, and humble protects your reputation and helps you avoid getting pulled into drama. Okay, so it's better, and I always think some people might think I'm aloof because I often do keep myself to myself, but honestly, it just makes sure that you're not involved with drama, okay? There's no need to get sucked into it. You don't have to get involved in that. It's not the important thing. Be polite, be proud of who you are and how you act in that circle, and let everyone else do them as long as you do you, okay? So always don't get sucked in. Don't feel like you have to act like everyone else. Stay polite. And you'll just feel way better about yourself, and it will just give you a better feeling around agility and around that community, okay? Point number 5, find your supportive people, okay? So look for the people who encourage others, celebrate good runs, theirs and other people's, and help when someone is struggling, okay? So again, every sports community has good mentors and supportive competitors. It's important that you find and focus on those people and surrounding yourself with the right people that lift you up and encourage you and make you happy, instead of focusing or letting those people that are maybe gossiping or talking negatively about others or even themselves, instead of letting them get to you and taking in what they're saying and doing, look for these supportive people and surround yourself by them. Because like I said, who you surround yourself with makes so much difference, okay? It makes so much difference to your mindset. And again, that longevity in the sport and ultimately how you perform, okay? Point number 6, accept that mistakes happen publicly, okay? In agility and any spectator sport, mistakes happen in front of everyone. They just will, okay? You can't make a mistake when no one's watching. The only time that happen is if you were training by yourself. For example, you had a venue and you're training on your own and no one's watching. And in that case, it doesn't matter anyway, and you're probably not too bothered. But generally, your mistakes will be seen by a few people, and that's the same for everyone, and there's nothing wrong with that. So it's just remembering that missed contacts, eliminations, refusals, all those things, everyone experiences them. Even quote-unquote top competitors have messy runs sometimes, and not even sometimes, a lot of the time, okay? There is a balance. Agility, you can't have the good runs without the bad runs, and it doesn't matter what level you're at. That does happen to everyone, and everyone sees that. And if you're worried about what people will think after seeing you make a mistake, think if you saw the agility handler that you idolise, your role model, who you'd like to be like, if you saw them make a mistake, which I'm sure you probably have at least once or twice or probably more, would that change your opinion of them? Would you suddenly stop respecting them and stop looking up to them? No, you wouldn't, okay? I've gone through this thought process before, and it's made me realise, hang on, I'm way harder on myself than I am other people. Okay, so realise that that wouldn't change your view of them. So it's not going to change anyone's view of you. And even if it did, does it really matter? Doesn't matter what people think of you, really, does it? Okay, it's hard. I know it's hard, but you've really got to work on just letting that go straight over your head. Okay. Point number 7, ignore gossip. Oh, please just ignore the gossip, okay? Because sports communities can be niche, especially agility is quite a niche sport, and rumours do spread quickly. So the best response is usually not to engage with it at all. Like I said, yes, some people probably think I'm aloof, but keep yourself to yourself if you need to stay out of it, okay? It's healthier. You need to focus on yourself, your dog, and your performance, and just let everything else just go on around you, okay? You do not have to be involved in everything that's happening, everything that people are talking about, okay? That is not the point of the sport, and it's not the point of the Young Kennel Club. The point is to improve yours and your dog's partnership and agility performance, and, you know, strive for your goals and reach them, and yeah, all that good stuff, not the gossip, not the, you know, the talk, the chatter, the negativity around it, okay? Point number 8, protect your confidence. If someone criticises your handling or training harshly, remember, they probably don't know your dog, and they probably don't know your training plan, and their tone, the way they say it to you, says more about them than it does you, okay? Confidence is built through experience and self-belief and proving things to yourself and reaching your own goals, not approval from others. And again, really, really hard, especially in a sport where you know everyone's watching, you are being watched and essentially judged. Like, everyone's being judged when they do agility by the judge, first and foremost, never mind the people that are, you know, on ringside. But let's be honest, the people probably aren't as bothered about your performance as you think they are. They're too busy worrying about themselves. And true internal confidence won't come from the approval of other people and praise from other people. It comes from within, and it comes from you, you know, putting the work in and achieving your goals that you set for yourself, and, you know, yeah, proving to yourself that you can train and follow through with what you set out to do. Okay, so if people criticise you, they probably don't know your partnership and what you've been through and the problems you face and what you've done behind the scenes. And, you know, if they're not very nice about it, that reflects on them and not you. Okay, and they'd probably say that to anyone, so don't take it personally. Okay, something I've had to learn. Point number 9, learn to walk away from toxic situations. Okay, so do not be afraid to walk away. If conversations become negative or uncomfortable, it's okay to change the subject, move to another group, or, like I often find myself doing, keep to yourself. Nothing wrong with that, okay? Do what I do and hang out with your mum, okay? Your mental well-being matters, okay? So that is the main thing over everything. So you have to prioritise that, and you have to do the things that keep your mental well-being healthy, okay? And again, increase and improve your own personal longevity in the sport, okay? You have to do everything you can. You owe it to yourself and your dog to make sure that you keep yourself happy and able to perform well in the sport of agility, okay? You can't let yourself get distracted by external noise, negativity, gossip, all those things that happen in any niche sports communities, okay? Finally then, point number 10, be the kind of competitor that you wish existed, okay? So the best way to improve the sport, and not only just improve the sport, but improve your own personal experience in the sport, is to model good behaviour, okay? So think, what kind of competitor do you wish everyone was, okay? So congratulate others, encourage new handlers, support nervous competitors, and you will often attract the same positivity back, okay? So think, what do I wish everyone else was like in this community? And be that, and that will rub off on other people, and you'll probably see more people also acting like that around you if you do so, okay? Does that make sense? So those are my 10 points. I hope they were super helpful. Like I said, the YKC is brilliant. It's a great way to start out in agility. It's fantastic for juniors, but like any community, and it's not just the YKC, you get it just in the sport in general. But in any kind of community like that, you're going to get negativity. You're going to get, things that happen that, affect your mental state, stuff like that. So if you can follow through on these points, you should find that it affects you a lot less, and you have a much better experience of being a member of said community. Okay, so from 10 years being in the YKC, they're my 10 points to hopefully help you guys that are still members and have however many more years as members. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, little Crufts recap, and also, those points that I really hope helped you guys. But without further ado, I will let you get on with the rest of your Wednesday or whenever you're listening to this. Next time I speak to you, I will be debriefing the second weekend of Team GB tryouts, and I may even know whether or not I made the team. So keep your ears and eyes out for that episode. I have 2 amazing guest episodes coming up over the next 2 weeks, so make sure that you don't miss them by following the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed today's episode, please do leave the podcast a 5-star rating and review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That would mean the absolute world to me. Also, make sure that you are following me on social media at Pause in Pursuit or Summer Clark on pretty much all of the platforms. You can keep up with me and Arrow and what we're doing over on there. I also advertise all my new podcast episodes over on there as well. And keep sending me your podcast topic requests and recommendations. So solo episodes you would like me to talk about on my own, and then guests you would like me to have on in the future, and what you would like me to talk about with those guests. Also, I offer in-person agility training in Lincoln. So I offer one-to-one lessons and group classes as well. Starting in April, I'm launching new evening classes from 6 to 7:30 throughout the week. So if you would like to train with me in one of those classes, then please get in touch. Or if you'd just like one-to-ones, again, please get in touch. A lot of people have a mixture of both. I also have some spaces left in my daytime classes as well. If you are interested in those, please get in touch. But yeah, I think that is everything that I tell you guys. I will probably see a few of you at the GB tryouts this weekend, maybe. And if not, then I will speak to you all next Wednesday at 8 p.m. I hope you have a great week. Bye, guys.